So my camera died. My phone died in the middle of my live video. So I'm going live again. So if you were just there, come back. I was in the middle of talking about these amazing triggers and these emotions moving through my body. Oh, my goodness, it's been so amazing and so intense. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Francesca. It's good to see you again. So I'm going to get back in the groove of what I was talking about. Hi, Molly. Hi, Sonia. Sophia. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. So how to take responsibility for my triggers and my desires without impressing them upon others, right? And I get this question a lot, like, how do you even do that? How do you even process what it is that you're doing before you impress it upon others? Love you so much, Sonia, Sophia. Okay, so the first one is always recognize that I'm dropping into a place where I'm trying to impress my desires or my triggers on someone. And what it usually feels like is self-talk around like, how can I make this different? What about this do I want to have different? And whenever I do that, I try to catch myself, and I have to be like, oh, a Zen master with it, like catching a fly with chopsticks. Because like I was saying in the other video, I have lots of NLP masters, and I love hypnotic language. And remembering that these tools are for the liberation of myself and others and not for the manipulation of myself and others. That diving deep into the why of what I'm communicating and really getting clear first with myself, especially when I'm attracted to the other person. Especially when I have any sort of charge, whether it's attraction or anger or just emotion, right? Energy and motion. I have to work my own process before I share my truth with anyone else. Hi, Janet. It's good to see you again. I'm so glad you came back. Hey, Jennifer. I'm glad you guys all jumped over. My phone completely died. Sorry about that. I did not plug it in, and I did not look at the amount before I got on. So this is part 2 or section 2, part 8 of Wild Woman Rhapsody, talking about my issues with intimacy and romance. So when I identify that I'm trying to impress, right, which is another form to manipulate or change the what is, the first thing I do is I notice it, and I tell myself that it's totally okay, that it's happening, that I'm okay, that I'm allowed to be human, that there's something really vulnerable and sweet about wanting to connect deeper and wanting to have solid ground to stand on, right, with the other person and really get some validation for our connection. So the first thing I do is I identify that that's happening. The second thing is I choose how I want to digest it, right? Formerly known as processing. Digesting is a way to take my emotional experience and put it into words, right? Take what's happening in the lower part of my body, in my human, the first, second, or third chakra. It's either triggering my issues around home and security, triggering my issues around sex, money, and creativity, or triggering my sense of will and identity. Right? It's activating those centers through desire or through triggers. Once I identify that it's in that zone, there are a couple things that I love to do. One is dance. Dancing gets me in my body and helps me move the energy. Another one is this process called free-form writing, where I literally set my timer for 15 minutes. I shut my door. I put on a candle and I write from this voice, and I just let it go. I try not to think about it too much. I let my mind be the translator, and I let my human speak fully. And after the 15 minutes, I allow my heart to go back through and make meaning. A lot of times I'll burn the paper afterwards, or I'll keep it depending on the process, but really getting in touch with what it is that I'm getting triggered about and what my desires are before I express my desires or my triggers to the person that I feel it associated with. This is the thing, is like, it's important for us to not bypass our human experience. If I feel jealousy, if I feel disconnected, if I feel abandoned, I know that I am whole, complete, and perfect. I know that I am awesome. I know that spirit lives in me and that I'm an infinite soul and that I'm a badass and doing incredible things in my life. But I have learned to no longer discredit my emotions because it stuffs it down in my physical body and doesn't allow for creativity to flow through me. I have to allow my human to live. And when I allow my human to live, I open up to so many other possibilities. But it doesn't mean that I have full-fledged availability to take my human and just whip it out, whip it on people. I really have been frustrated with some people calling the feminine this space where women or people in their feminine just get to express whatever they want to whomever they want, get to spew their shit all over their man. That's not the way the feminine works. That's not the way a person in harmony with themselves works, in my opinion, in my own experience. I'm learning that I have to take responsibility for my emotional experience first before I present it to someone. It is not my job to purge on the man that I am having this trigger issue with. It is my job to take it and process it, digest it within myself, right? So I gave you 2 techniques. I like to dance, I like to do freeform writing, and the other one is share it with someone in my sacred circle, right? Not share it on Facebook, not share it with my friends, not share it with the participants in my coaching or my ceremony programs. No, I share it with someone in my sacred circle, and there's about 3 people in that circle where I go and I process my deep shaming shit. I process it, I digest it, and then I share from a place of not necessarily having it figured out, but not flinging it on someone hoping that, hey, you figure this out, right? It's from a place where I can understand that my human has space to breathe. I'm allowing her to exist just as she is without her needing to be different, but I have to get those hooks out first. I'm a fiery human being who knows how to hook people, and if I've ever hooked you in frustration or my attraction to you, I'm deeply sorry. I do apologize. She gets into a space sometimes that just goes, and I have learned to catch it, breathe, and digest it in one of these 3 ways. And it's usually a combination of doing some inner work, dance, and free writing, and then sharing it with someone in my inner circle, and then bringing it back to the person. Sometimes I don't even need to bring it back to the person. Sometimes they were just there to activate that issue, right? And I've already let it digest through my system. Sometimes it's important for me to bring it full circle back to the person and share with them, hey, this is what activated in me when this happened between you and I, and this is the process that I've been through, and there's some other pieces that I feel that I would love clarity on, or that I would love to hear your input on, or that I would love to come to a better agreement to with you. So that's my learning around being activated with this heart-opening connection with this person and them connecting with others right with me. So that's the second thing. The third thing that I wanted to share was 9 years ago, almost a decade ago, I went to Costa Rica for the first time and sat in a sacred ceremony called ayahuasca. And that's the first time that I am publicly saying that on a video. Maybe this isn't the best place to do that. I don't care. And the way that the essence, the spirit came to me was incredibly beautiful. Now, I want to be really clear. I know that our other than consciousness speaks to us in symbols. And whether or not ayahuasca is actually a spirit and actually a divine feminine essence, I'm not entirely sure. And I don't entirely care. The way that my other than consciousness is helping me interpret something that's vast beyond my understanding is through metaphor. And the metaphor that came to me was a beautiful Egyptian queen. And she came to me, her legs were open, her mouth was open, and she turned into a vine tree. And this viney tree had an incredible Celtic knot up above. And this beautiful woman's body, and these roots that reached deep down into the earth. And she looked right at me and said, "Welcome home." And I saw this image painted on my back. She literally came from the forest, went up around, and impressed herself on my back. And that was almost 10 years ago. And since then, I've drawn her many times, and I've wanted to get her tattooed on my back. And so for my 32nd birthday, I did 2 things. One, I bought a ticket to Ecuador to do a yoga teacher retreat and visit my first taita, my first curandero, my first yahe ayahuasca shaman ever, who lives in northeastern Ecuador. So I'm going to go do that in April, and a yoga retreat, which I've never done a yoga retreat before. For myself, I've led retreats, but I've never participated in a retreat. And the second thing was I got my tattoo. Her name is Ma, and I want to show you. I'm going to see if I can do this. It's pretty vulnerable. You guys ready? Hope I don't flash it too much. Let's see how I can do this. It's big. Ready? Oh, the great unveiling. Okay, I gotta turn so you can see. What do you think? She's big. That's her. She's not fully done. There's a lot of shading and some color to go in because I want her to look like that gnarly vine. But that's the beginning of Ma. She got my back. Yeah, so thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. This is the second video of part 8. And thank you, Satina. I love it too. And if you're interested, if you're in the LA area and you're interested in sitting with someone who does ceremonial tattooing, Autumn, she's a friend of mine here on Facebook. She's the only Autumn that I have on my Facebook friends. She is incredible. She sat with me, she lit a candle, and she said, I want to hear the story of your tattoo, and led me through this ceremonial process. And she did it in her living room. It was super comfortable and loving. Her prices are amazing. She's an incredible artist. She did several different drawings with me before I found the one that was right on. So I just want to give her a little plug. Autumn, she's here in Los Angeles, and she loves to create art, especially for women. If you guys are looking for sacred art tattoos, she's just my girl. I think that's all for today. Hi, Janet. I'm glad you like my tattoo. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Francesca. Yeah, I love it too. Thank you all for being here. If you're just tuning in and watching this on replay, watch the first video that's down below. I got cut off, and that one explains a little bit more about the theme of me processing some of my romantic triggers that I've been feeling the past couple days. I love y'all. Thank you for being here on this incredible Friday morning-ish. And if you have any personal questions about these videos or about what I'm doing, you're welcome to Facebook message me. The best way to get a hold of me is email. I do turn on my Facebook message just for a day after these videos if anything personal comes in, because some of you have shared really personal stories after these videos, and I just want to say thank you for that, the way that they've impacted you or questions that it's brought up in your own life. So I do turn on messaging for a day. Other than that, I'm not on Facebook Messenger. I'm not on Instagram Messenger. I'm not on text message. The only way to get a hold of me right now is email, and I'll put my email up in the info section so you can get a hold of me directly and we can talk more. Love y'all. Mwah.